Coming up, you get the tingles, don't you?
Oh, that's impressive.
There's more to me than that.
I think you can't read a script like that without caring.
You don't want to sound as though you're advertising.
After the break, we're going to get stoned.
Did you really?
Is it called first position?
It was a little bit more intense than they had asked for.
Yes, I think the stance is everything.
I mean, it's so wrong for this script.
How do we go? How do we segue from that?
Did I bring the dance? Did I bring the dance?
Oh God, you should have seen me.
You know, I know, we all know this is true.
And now, enjoy the podcast.
How do you say that?
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 Hello and welcome to today's episode of How Do You Say That, sponsored by BritishVoiceover.co.uk. Let me introduce you to the gorgeous Mark Rice.
Wow, what have I done to deserve that? Well,
I don't know,
hello.
actually. Feeling frisky, obviously.
Let me introduce the equally wonderful Samantha Boffin.
Hello. So every week we and a very special guest get together for a chat with some scripts, just so we can see how we all approach stuff differently.
Yeah, so if you use a mic professionally, listen on for a script workout, a host of voiceover tips, a lot of fun, hopefully, and general voice geekery.
Voice geekery, indeed. Now, so today's fun fact about Mark is, Mark, you've just bought 25 new solar lights for your garden, so it lights up nicely in the dark.
Well, do you know what? I've just had a recount. It's 30, actually.
30?
It's actually 30, and
30.
it does. It lights the garden beautifully. It really does.
Amazing.
And Sam's fun fact, get this, people, is that she nearly gave birth to her third child whilst waiting outside the main door to the maternity hospital. It sounds like an episode of Casualty.
Yeah, I was there ringing the bell. My husband was parking the car, and we had left it a bit late, I'll be honest. And they really didn't believe me. So I did actually give birth as I walked through the door. They hooked me up on something, and I said, I really want to push. They went, no, you do want to push. And so that.
Amazing.
She's very quick. And of course, we also have a very special guest, who this week is voice actor Bev Standing. Hello, Bev.
Hi, Bev.
Hello, Mark. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you.
I'm pleased. It's going to be fun.
Stop laughing after your fun facts.
So Bev is a full-time voice actor and has been for over 10 years. She's located in Ontario, Canada, and her focus is on commercial, non-broadcast, e-learning and telephony for the most part. But she has also, this is so cool, she has also narrated the one and only season of a TV show titled The People's Couch, which is based on the UK programme Gogglebox.
Oh, amazing.
And she has also been an animated ball with arms and legs for a maths programme, and she's voiced characters in a wargaming video and has recorded one audiobook.
Well, Bev is probably best known as the original text-to-speech voice of TikTok, the voice actor who in 2021 brought a lawsuit against the social media platform for the unauthorised use of her voice. She's also a co-territory controller for Gravy for the Brain Canada alongside Graham Spicer. Well, welcome to the podcast, Bev. Have you got a fun fact that you can share with us?
I do. I want to share the fact that the television show that I narrated as a Brit.
Did you? Nice.
Did you really?
Yes. I couldn't believe it that's what they wanted. My mother was from Strawberry Hill, Twickenham. So as soon as you asked me to be British, I sound like my mother used
Nice.
to.
The one in the UK, the guy that does it in the UK, you've probably heard it, has got a very, very distinctive sort of voice.
Craig Cash, yes.
Did you have to do anything odd?
It was
other
just
than
high
the English?
energy. Like, what would you do if your TV watched you? You know, that type of thing.
That's so cool.
I love
So it
that.
was fun. After the break, we're going to get stoned. And then they do a crystal episode. You know, so it was a lot of fun. Yes, it was lots of
Do
fun.
you know what? I wish Carolina Hearn had done the British version originally that way.
I had never heard of Gogglebox until much after, so it was interesting.
Okay.
Brilliant. I'm sure we'll hear more as the show goes on.
Let's have a look at our first script of the show and ask, how do you say that?
How do you say that? All right, now this is something I've been working on in the last couple of days. It's unusual because I do quite a lot of work for a gaming company where I make their promos and things like that. This is actually an instructional video for the players because they're changing some stuff within the program.
Do you know, I looked at this and I thought, what on earth is it about? I have never heard of that term, team perks.
There's a new point system to the game, basically, and they're testing it, and so this is for the beta testers to test it. I didn't actually understand half of what the players had to do.
Right.
It's just the words on the page. Make them come alive.
There you go.
Who are we talking to?
This is players of the game.
Okay. I'm tempted to be more upbeat than downbeat. Well, not downbeat, but I'm tempted to be a bit more, sort of high energy. Is that a good or a bad thing? Is that a right or a wrong thing?
I don't think it's right or wrong.
Okay, I see. Right, okay. All right, then.
Do you know why I don't think it's right or wrong? Because I haven't got it back from the client yet.
Oh.
I've only just done it. I haven't. So I might have done it completely wrong already.
Okay,
I don't know.
So I won't ask you what choices you made. So I'll just make a choice. Okay, cool. Okay. We are starting to test large-scale improvements to team perks. We haven't created a new system, but rather developed the existing one. So let's call it a serious evolution. Now, each team member has just 6 slots for main perks. There is good news for crew members who fulfill several roles at once. It is a bonus perk system. If a crew member has a secondary qualification, it will be trained alongside the major one. Bonus perks don't increase the total training time, no matter how many there are.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? And there are lots of things to trip over there. The one thing I noticed when I got the script was there are no contractions in it, apart from haven't. And I'm really surprised because the rest of the script looked like it would say, we have not created a new system. And so actually I recorded one with contractions and one without contractions. I don't know which one they're going to use.
I'm still no further on in knowing what I was talking about. And I suspect I was a little OTT. But that was the first time that had come out of my mouth. So, yeah.
What I have in my head, I thought it was great. I thought you started off a little more upbeat with a higher energy and you kind of brought it down near the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But you did a few things that I would do too. So it was like, oh, this is good. I just felt like it was relaxed. I'm just telling you what we're doing and it's all good.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, it's funny you say that I started off, I lost faith.
And do you know what? I think I know exactly where you lost faith. Yes,
I'm
I know
not
what
sure
you mean.
I made the right choices here. But no, interesting. Okay, good.
Okay. Bev, would you like a go?
Sure. I'd love a go. This is fun. We are starting to test large-scale improvements to team perks. We haven't created a new system, but rather developed the existing one. Let's call it a serious evolution. Now, each team member has just 6 slots for main perks. There is good news for crew members who fulfill several roles at once. It is a bonus perk system. If a crew member has a secondary qualification, it will be trained alongside the major one. Bonus perks do not increase the total training time, no matter how many there are.
Lovely. Oh, now that was very peppy, Sam, wasn't it?
I loved it.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it. And yeah, when I'm looking at this script, and of course it's in 2 parts, and you smooshed the 2 parts together, which I loved. And you jumped a lot. You did my lovely. You jumped the punctuation, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Sam is a big fan of jumping punctuation.
I'm a
Huge fan of that.
So I really liked that, and it felt very kind of warm and inviting, and I want those perks.
You want those perks, exactly right. You want the bonus perks, don't you?
I want them
Exactly.
all. Every
Right.
perk.
You see, the interesting thing is, much as I did for the client a version with no contractions and a version with full contractions, I cannot imagine in a million years that they wouldn't use the one with contractions because it's friendlier, it's more
absolutely.
conversational. It's if you're talking to your players, surely that's what they're going to want.
Cool.
That's one of the reasons I emphasized the last line. Bonus perks do not increase because they didn't.
Yep.
So I went, okay.
Shall I show you what I did?
Yes.
Please.
I'm going to
do.
show you with the contracted version, I think, because it's a lot less clunky. All right. We are starting to test large-scale improvements to team perks. We haven't created a new system, but rather developed the existing one. Let's call it a serious evolution. Now, each team member has just 6 slots for main perks. There's good news for crew members who fulfill several roles at once. It's a bonus perk system. If a crew member has a secondary qualification, it'll be trained alongside the major one. Bonus perks do not increase the total training time, no matter how many there are.
Lovely.
Nice.
I loved you. Yeah, I loved your bonus perk. It's, yeah.
Well, it is in inverted commas. You've got to do something,
Absolutely.
right?
I like that. I thought it's similar to what I did in some parts, but you brought it down a little bit, which I think is a little more appropriate for an instructional. But when I went through this the first time, I thought, oh, let's make this fun because I don't know what they're looking at.
Yeah.
But it seemed engaging. It was it was interesting and informative at the same time. You could tell you had a bit of a smile, so I liked it.
Bev, you're right. In taking it down, once you said 7 minutes, I did think, well, okay, 7 minutes of me being perky with
Yes.
my team perks might grate a little on the average listener. So, yeah, once you know it's that long, then I suppose that makes a difference to how hard you hit it.
But I'm sure players of the game fully understand what it's about.
Well, exactly. It is worthwhile remembering that these are real scripts that we're working on, but we've changed the names and some of the details to avoid copyright issues.
Well, we have indeed. Now, Bev, your script is very, very different indeed. Can you give us a bit of background to this one?
Absolutely. So this is a PSA, and it is in another country overseas. I can't say too much. And it was twice as long, so I really cut this down. There was a lot of information taken out, but this is the gist of the topic. And it really is just a PSA about...
So PSA is public service...
Announcements.
Announcements, okay.
So in this country, a lot of people, a lot of children disappear.
Yeah.
So this is their way of tracking them quickly. As soon as you can't find your child, you can tell an authority the information, the name, and they stick it up on these billboards and cancel all the advertising, which is brilliant.
That's
that is
incredible,
brilliant,
isn't
yes.
it?
And then people can see their faces and tell on them and hopefully find the children.
Gosh.
So it's a bit of a heart pull.
Yeah.
With with the positive, we've got this.
Yeah.
And this is actually advertising the scheme in a way so that advertisers and people know that that's happening.
Mm-hmm. And probably very much behind it, that their ad would stop for a moment.
Gosh, Sam, shall I have a go at this?
Yes, do.
Right, okay. Because I think, looking at it, I think it's very what I would call my charity style at the top and then much harder towards the bottom. So let's see what comes out. Right. Losing a child is terrifying, a nightmare many people face every day in our country. To help locate a child, it takes a company that is everywhere. Introducing Lost Child Awareness. Our company, the biggest out-of-home media company here, turned its billboards into a real-time tool for searching for lost children. With the support of advertisers, every single ad stops and the search starts. Lost Child Awareness. When a child is lost, there's nothing more important to be advertised.
I've got chills. That was lovely.
I think that may have been a bit worthy towards the end, possibly.
A little bit. It was a little bit more intense than they had asked for, but it was still lovely, and I could tell that you cared.
Yes.
I think you can't read a script like that without caring, funnily enough. It's one of those, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
My only, I don't know if I'm allowed to do this, when you switched to our company, you went a little too proud of your company.
Too
in my
corporate,
opinion.
yes,
It was a little too big after introducing the
Which,
name
do you
of
know,
the
is
program.
wonderful direction. And if I was to do a second take of that, absolutely, though, you would take that on board. Yeah, very much.
Yeah, because it's you've got to have that balance between you don't want to sound as though you're advertising.
Yeah.
You don't want to be able to advertise off the back of this. It's, yeah.
Well, and it's in the real script, it's the name of the company, too.
Of course,
Yes.
yeah.
A little
Yeah.
softer.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Sam, go on
Okay.
then. Go on then.
Okay. Losing a child is terrifying, a nightmare many people face every day in our country. To help locate a child, it takes a company that is everywhere. Introducing Lost Child Awareness. Our company, the biggest out-of-home media company here, turned its billboards into a real-time tool for searching for lost children. With the support of advertisers, every single ad stops and the search starts. Lost Child Awareness. When a child is lost, there's nothing more important to be advertised.
And you went very matter of fact at the end there, which was lovely. I don't think you went quite as hard heartstrings at the top as I did, but I think that really worked.
Absolutely.
I'd probably redo I'd definitely redo the end. I think I came out a bit hard at the end, but it's a lovely when you say it out loud, as I just have done. You really get that kind of.
You get the tingles, don't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very much.
But like you said, it's a hard script not to care. It's just especially if you are a parent. But even if you're not, you know a kid. Somebody knows a kid. Right?
Exactly
Absolutely.
right.
I thought it was lovely. I thought it was nice and soft and gentle. A little more urgency.
Yeah.
Okay.
In a couple of spots. And I personally did something different with the supportive advertisers that neither of you did.
Oh, that's interesting.
Based on my own feelings of the script, and they took it. So, and maybe because I knew who the company was and who they were talking to and stuff, that I knew to kind of point that out a little bit.
Sure.
Oh, that's fascinating. Okay, so...
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing what you did with it then, Bev, if that's possible.
Okay. Losing a child is terrifying. A nightmare many people face every day in our country. To help locate a child, it takes a company that is everywhere. Introducing Lost Child Awareness. Our company, the biggest out-of-home media company here, turned its billboards into a real-time tool for searching for lost children. With the support of advertisers, every single ad stops, and the search starts. Lost Child Awareness. When a child is lost, there's nothing more important to be advertised.
Oh, I've got tingles as well. There. And the one thing that I noticed, and I'm sure Sam did as well, every single ad, pause, stops. And it works really beautifully.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was to get their attention, nobody else.
Yeah.
And
the advertisers, right?
Yeah.
What I loved about it actually was that it was actually really naturalistic, really kind of humanized, really conversational right at the top. I really loved the in as well. Yeah, it was just like, I know, we all know this is true. Losing a child is terrifying. I really enjoyed that. I thought that you did that beautifully. Yeah, really lovely read.
Thank you.
Was it a directed session, Bev?
No.
So you were self-directing. So it could have gone in a number of different directions then.
It could have. I guess I just based it on the description that they had given me and the other lines that are entwined in this that I've cut out.
Of course, yeah.
That's one of my sweet spots.
Yes.
And you can really tell.
Thanks. Yeah, it was less boring than my other ones.
I love it.
Well, here we go, Bev. If you want less boring, I'm going to give you the moment that we love here in the show, the wild card section of the show.
We're going to switch it up a bit. How do we go? How do we segue from that?
Quite, absolutely.
Hey, Kai, jazz hands.
Let's see if we can approach these scripts in a completely different way. So, Bev, I'm going to ask you to pick one of the scripts for Sam and a way of her doing it, or a character or whatever, different motivation. What do you think?
Okay, let's do... I would like you to do the second script.
Yep.
And I would like you to do it as if it was more of a training video.
Okay.
Wow, okay. Yeah,
Right.
interesting.
So you are telling your staff that this is what we're going to develop. We're going to create this stuff in a more of a conversational tone. No emotion, just fun. I don't know. Let's see where you go with that.
So it's more like a training video, an instructional video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, losing a child is terrifying. It's a nightmare many people face every day in our country. So, to help locate a child, it takes a company that is everywhere. You see? Introducing Lost Child Awareness. Our company, the biggest out-of-home media company here, turned its billboards into a real-time tool for searching for lost children. Yes, with the support of advertisers. Every single ad stops and the search starts. lost child awareness. When a child is lost, I mean, there is nothing more important to be advertised.
That's a beautiful ending to that, absolutely. A real character-filled read, though, amusingly. I love it.
That was fun. I mean, it's so wrong for this script, but you did it. You really did it. So good for you.
That first line with the giggle in the first line, it's like, whoa, where are we going here?
Oh, my goodness. Well done.
I didn't know how much extra to put in. There was, a bit of me that wanted to say, look at the board behind me, as you can see, to help locate a child.
Absolutely.
But anyway, we didn't do that.
As you've seen, Bev, I mean, a little bit of poetic license with the scripts in the wildcard section is absolutely fine. That's no problem at all.
Absolutely. Okay.
In case someone's listening for the first time, Sam, it's worthwhile pointing out, isn't it, that the reason that we do the wildcard is that if you can really get out of the rhythms of how you think it should be done, when you go back to doing it, quote unquote, sensibly, you come to it with a very different feel.
Yes. Yeah, I think you do.
I did a session. I've done this at a couple of smaller conferences, but I take scripts and I take little dishes with different emotions. So it'll have your gender, whether you're male, female, child, adult, whatever age group. And then it'll have happy, sad. And then if you're really daring, we'll put in a lisp, or you're drunk, or you're just really tired. And then so you do a cold read, then you read it with these things, and then you read it how you think you would. And it's brilliant. It's
Makes
nice
a remarkable
to
change, doesn't it? Absolutely. Okay, Bev, well, if you're ready, I'm going to suggest one for you now, if that's okay.
The same script?
No, I'm going to get you to do script 1.
Okay.
And I would like you to be a woman who is not a goddess, but who thinks, for the people around her, that she is a goddess.
Oh,
and that they should treat her like a goddess.
Okay. We are starting to test large-scale improvements to Team Perks. We haven't created a new system, but rather developed the existing one. Let's call it a serious evolution. Now, each team member has just 6 slots for main perks. There is good news for crew members who fulfill several roles at once. It is a bonus perk system. If a crew member has a secondary qualification, it will be trained alongside the major one. Bonus perks do not increase the total training time, no matter how many there are.
Oh, the superiority! Wow.
No matter.
That's exactly what I hoped for. It's like that woman did
so
believe what
good.
she was in charge of, didn't she? Wow.
Yay! Somebody once says I take direction well, so yay.
Hooray!
Did you feel as if you were becoming goddess?
Oh, God, you should have seen me. It's sitting up here all proper. And yeah, I almost put on an accent, but that's kind of insulting when I'm talking to 2 Brits. So no.
Do you know what? But that was really interesting because I think I detected the moment that flitted through your brain.
I think you did. I heard it and went, stop.
Yep.
Just stop.
Now, that's really funny. That's really funny because I thought you were going to continue down that. But then a lot of people around the world say the Brit accent does carry a superiority. I mean, a false superiority to it sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yes.
Right, Sam.
Right, Mark.
I'm your victim this week.
You are my victim. So, Mark, I would like you to be a ballet dancer.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, well, you don't have to be a ballet dancer if you don't want.
I'm
a
blonde
ballet
at the
dancer.
moment. When I was doing a show recently and someone came up to me and went, "You look a bit like Wayne Sleep." I didn't really understand how to take that.
Oh, well. Okay. I don't know.
As he is now, rather than back then.
You're a ballet dancer and you've been stopped mid-dance. You were at rehearsal, so
right,
you are
yes.
you are that. So so your ballet dancer stopped mid-dance, and you've been asked to explain your dance to young people who simply don't understand what you've been doing.
Right.
Okay. And you've got script 2.
Oh, that is awful of you.
Easy.
So you obviously the stance may be
yes,
may be
I think
helpful.
the stance is everything. Absolutely.
The stance is everything.
Okay, all right. Losing a child is terrifying. A nightmare many people face every day in our country. Yes. To help locate a child. No, well, come here then. It takes a company that's everywhere. Introducing Lost Child Awareness. Our company, the biggest out-of-home media company here, turned billboards into a real-time dancing tool to find lost children. Now, with the support of advertisers, every single dance stops and the search starts. Lost Child Awareness. When a child is lost, there's nothing more important to be advertised.
Oh, so gracious. What a gracious dancer you were. Did you call somebody up on stage at one point? Am I thinking?
Yes, you got there. But I was very... I don't know what is it called first position?
Yes,
yeah.
Probably. I don't know. What are you doing? Are you heels together?
Heels together, toes out.
Yeah.
And my arms were above my head.
Really?
Oh.
You went that far?
No, I went that far, exactly,
First
yes.
position, yeah, absolutely.
Now, if you listen very carefully back to the recording, in that very first sentence, I actually hit the light at the top of my booth. That's how high my hands were.
Wow, that's impressive.
Impressive. Did I bring the dance?
You
dance?
brought the dance. You brought the dance. You explained the dance to me.
Am I the lord of the dance?
You are the lord of the dance, Darcy. Yes.
Oh my God.
And on that note, we have put the scripts in the show notes so you can have a try yourself. Does anyone actually do that, do you think, Mark?
I think they do.
Does anyone actually try
people come up to me and say that they do try the scripts. Exactly. That's why they're there. It's all good.
That's so cool.
Play, how do you say that? Now, question time. For Bev. Now, Bev, you started out in voiceover, presumably after a different career entirely. So, what's your experience been in starting your VO journey later in life? What are the pros and cons that you found?
Well, after a different career, after many careers,
Right.
Working, being a mom, stay-at-home mom, new job, got bored, do something else, and that was always me. So the cons, I haven't found a lot of cons starting later in life, with the mainly because, generally speaking, I still sound fairly young.
Yep.
So I didn't 10 years ago. I still don't now sound old unless I want to. But that would have certainly been some of the downsides in a lot of the fun commercial stuff. They're not coming to me.
Sure, yeah.
But that being said, the pros of starting later in life for me was I had so much background that I did not realize were going to help me on this journey, from picking up new technology. I mean, I was always that person that started at one job and worked my way up because I got bored. Yeah. But one of the first jobs that I had was at CBC Radio in Toronto, Ontario. And I started as a receptionist, worked my way up to typing scripts, to being a script editor, to going to the rehearsals, to ending up as a production assistant in a radio show with a live audience and voice talent calling into an answering machine service.
Wow.
I didn't think that was 3 years. I didn't think it would do anything for me.
And you do a lot of telephony, so I imagine that has really had some kind of impact.
That's amazing, yeah.
You never know, right? It's just how important it is that they answer the phone properly. But yeah, and then my dad was an advertising executive, so we would sit and watch TV. And instead of watching the show, we'd go, "Ooh, what do you think of that commercial?" Because he had the Kraft account and McDonald's, and my teddy bear in my booth is the original Kraft bear.
Oh, so it's not like you came to the business
not at
cold.
all. And it was also at a time. My husband had just passed away, and I needed to get out of the house. I was 52, and I just didn't want to sit at home on the weekend that was going to be the first anniversary without him. So I looked online to get a course, and I couldn't find anything that interested me. I was looking for, I don't cook very much, but I was looking for cooking or art or something. And all I could find was a voiceover workshop Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And somebody said to me, just say yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did. Yeah. And I went from there to Second City in Toronto, which is a huge improv platform in North America. And then I met somebody who was taking acting classes. So I went and took acting classes for a year. And it was just me saying yes. So for someone who starts out later in life, don't just think you speak.
Yeah.
You need to learn. You need to pull on I do a lot of safety videos, health and safety. Because of my background, I was in construction. My late husband was a firefighter. So health and safety was a big deal for me. So I'm a little more passionate about it. So when you're doing e-learning and stuff, you got to care about what you're doing. And I always tell people when I'm coaching, if you don't have any idea what you're talking about, pretend you're talking about something you're passionate about.
Yes.
In your head, just replace the topic. You just pretend. So I close a lot of doors and open a lot of doors and let in and let out emotions as I need to. And I'm able to do that because I'm a grown-up.
Yeah.
And you have to learn how to do that.
Do you know what? That is such a good comment. I do it because I'm a grown-up.
It's funny because there is a sort of feeling that perhaps, because when I've coached people who have kind of come to this as a second career, I have to really get them out of that mindset of thinking they're somehow on a back foot because they are, coming to it later.
Sure.
And I always think that, as you were saying, Bev, all of that past life, if you like, all of the stuff they've done, all of that kind of rich tapestry of stuff that they've actually been involved with informs all of the stuff. I think
Absolutely.
and also they're probably a bit more comfortable with themselves. They are, often it's easier to get them to loosen up a bit. So I think there are I think a lot of people are coming to this sort of later on, rather than at 20. I mean...
What do you know at 20,
when I started,
right?
I had a full-time job.
Still a full-time job even at that point, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For 4 years while I was doing all my training and started and stuff. I was still working, your standard 8-hour day on construction sites, but standard 8-hour day. Yeah. And then I would come home and I would have to... I didn't have to. I loved it. Yeah. It put me in a world where I didn't have to think of the bad.
Yeah.
Yes,
and it was
that's
just fun.
True, actually, absolutely.
Oh, Bev, great stories. Thank you so much. And that is such good advice to anyone beginning in the industry a little later. Well, a reminder that all of Bev's details can be found in the show notes.
Absolutely, as well as both of those lovely scripts.
Yes, indeed.
And anybody's going to do that. If you enjoyed this episode, there are 70 others to binge on. Mm-hmm. And then you can leave us a review.
You can indeed. Well, that's it for this week. Thanks again to the amazing Bev Standing. Thank you so much, Bev. It's been wonderful to have you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
We'll be back next week with more scripts and another voiceover guest when we'll be asking, and this is where we do the title of the show all together, Bev. We'll be asking...
How do you say that?
How do you say that?